Hi there, Crafty Pals, Louise with you today. Thanks so much for checking out this video. It is for the Counterfeit Kit April challenge, and the first challenge was about birds. There was a bird themed embellishment, and I had this photo in my stash. We had gone to a little outback creek, quite a drive, and while we were sitting there, there were so many kookaburras, and they would all come down, and they were so friendly, and you could sort of throw food out to them. But basically, there are 7 kookaburras in the one photo. I think there's 5 in the tree and 2 on the ground. But yeah, it was a little memory and not something that I would generally scrap that often. But I obviously took the photo, so it needed to become a memory. And so that's going to be my inspiration for the Counterfeit Kit today, which had the theme for the challenge of birds. Now, using my elements from the kit, I've got a little bit of wood grain, so I thought that that would contrast quite nicely with the background that you can see that I've made here. And I've pulled a whole heap of embellishments. And you know how sometimes you just grab the right embellishment first off, you kind of just audition it, check if it's going to fit how you want it, and it just fits, so you roll with it. That was kind of how this layout came together. Now, these Oh my gosh, I'll start again. These alphas did not get chosen as part of the kit, but I knew that I had to title this 7 kookaburras, and so I went to my stash and had to try and find some alphas that I thought would work, and obviously these ones were quite neutral, and I really just like the look of them. So pulling from my stash, making sure that I have the memory documented in this case. So nice simple title, tells the story, adding the journaling of where we were and for what occasion. I really do like this border. It's not something that I would have sort of gone straight for in terms of the leaves, but being that I had quite a sort of a leafy photo, the color's probably not quite right. I probably should have gone for a slightly darker color, but yeah, I really think that this border works quite well with the elements in my photo. And I'm really just going to take some time and work through adding some embellishments and a few little bits and pieces to this layout. Keeping it nice and simple. Like, I have heaps of stash here. Being a single photo layout, I'm just going to do it in the 9x12. Started with a white background, and really this is just all about building up that cluster. So tucking little pieces into backgrounds, having smaller elements here and there. This is quite funny because I can't find my little tool that I use for distressing black ink. I have a tool with a little foamy pad on it, and I don't know where it's gone. I need to get a new one out. But for the time being, I'm just going to use the ink pad and ink around the edges directly without the foam pad. And yeah, it's sort of slightly frustrating when you're in the middle of something and you're trying to, get your creative flow happening, and then all of a sudden you can't find the right tool. For a while that tended to be my distress tool, but yeah, I eventually managed to get my distress tool on a little piece of sort of twine, and it doesn't get lost in there as much anymore. So yeah, fun little layout today. Sorry for the little sidetrack, but adding lots of stickers. I have that really cool sheet of thickest titles, and then have plenty of like stars and little bits and pieces. So I must admit I haven't done as many layouts with this kit. April's kind of kicking my butt right now, and I am trying to keep my YouTube nice and active, so I am trying to do lots of layouts with videos attached to them, just to kind of keep my channel current, and just because it's fun to look back at layouts and see them. And that is the 7 kookaburras layout complete, and I'm going to actually move on and add in the second challenge that I did for Counterfeit Kit, which was inspired by this mood board. And again, coming back to sort of those blues, I didn't have a great deal of blue in the kit, but this just goes to show that you can get creative and just use what you have available to you. So I must admit I'm thoroughly enjoying being part of Counterfeit Kit. It means that I'm ultimately using Stash, and I've really enjoyed using it in ways that I probably wouldn't have under normal circumstances. So having that challenge ability, making sure that, I'm getting my photos documented, and that seems to be a bit of a thing. I kind of focus on just doing projects that need doing as opposed to the actual documenting of all our memories through our life. So all right, a little bit off topic there, but as you can see, I've cut these grid style pieces, and that's because that background was quite vibrant, but I really liked this blue paper, and I thought, oh, how am I going to combine these? And so cutting them down into a grid style, and that grid is going to get like a whole lot of a glow up is what I'm going to call it very shortly. So bit of a nothing photo, this one. It's kind of just a fun moment from childhood, getting to climb a climbing wall and then jump off the top and things like that. So quite challenging, I think, because I didn't have the right elements. I'd looked at this when I printed it multiple times, and I never quite had the right pieces to scrapbook it. It was time, and that's, I think, what really impresses me about Counterfeit Kit is that I'm scrapping memories and really getting creative with those elements that I've chosen for the kit. Now, this was a Vicky Bouton sticker from a previous collection, and when you peel it off the backing, it's quite opaque, so it doesn't have that darkness, and so I want it to sort of pop a little bit more, so I just mounted on a little bit of white and cut it out and then put it into my elements so it doesn't quite get lost in that background. But essentially I'm just building a cluster here, really just taking the elements that I have available and really just playing around until I'm happy with how everything comes together and looks. So I like to have this in mind fairly initially, so that when I'm building that background, I know what I can cover up and what doesn't need to be applied. So a bit of fun. Let's go ahead and give this background a little bit of a glow up now that we've got the main elements ready to go. So essentially I'm going to do a little bit of doodling around the edges of the grid squares that you see there. I'm going to distress those edges, and then I'm going to grab a ink tool and a distress ink pad, and I'm going to spread some color around in that background as well. And then I'm going to repeat that 8 more times for each item of the grid and stick everything down off camera. So the actual building of the cluster and what you see here looks pretty quick, but most of it I just did off camera, so you didn't necessarily have to see it. And in the final stages, I'm going to fussy cut some of the extra blue textured elements, mount them up on foam, ink the edges, and just add some texture, which you'll see in a little bit of a close-up shortly. So this background, loved it. It was so unique, and I think it came out beautifully. It's got lots of texture, and I love the finished cluster. Finally, I'm going to use, again, stash busting some of the counterfeit elements, which were these enamel dots, and that's going to be my layout complete. So I hope that you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching both videos if you're still here, and love the Counterfeit Kit. Make sure you check them out on Facebook. Lots of inspiration. They have a blog and kit makers, and lots of things that you can see and join in with challenges and play along with. All right, that was so fun. Thank you very much as always, and if you have visited, I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day, and as always, happy scrapping.